Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. And if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Chris and I'm a full-time reseller. I live in Portland, Oregon with my wife Holly and our 4 kids, Christian, Charlie, Chloe, and now Carter. We just had Carter last month and at this point we are officially done. Hashtag family complete. My wife Holly and I will be celebrating 10 years of marriage later on this year, and we've had our fair share of struggles, but for the most part, it's been a pretty good journey. We've traveled to 49 states together, and the only place we haven't traveled to is Hawaii. And overall, I feel like we complement each other quite well. In this video, I just want to share my story and how I got into reselling. I shot a version of this video as my first video a while back, and let me just keep it real with you guys. It was absolutely terrible. I didn't know a whole lot about YouTube, and I was filming on the Galaxy S7, and that was cool for the most part. But the biggest problem was I shot it from my car, and I didn't have a car mount, and so the placement of the phone was awful. And overall, it just was not a good video, and I just wanted to take another opportunity to be able to better articulate my story. I knew I could do better, and this is my opportunity to do just that. I'm shooting on a Canon M50 now, and so far so good. Okay guys, so I grew up in Arlington, Texas, and for those of you who may not be familiar with the area, Arlington is right in the middle of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it's also the home of the Cowboys and a place where we think the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl every year. We also have the Mavs and the Rangers, and I'm an avid follower of both of those teams. Probably one of the biggest things I miss the most about living in Texas is going to the Ranger games. The Ranger games is by far probably what my wife and I miss the most. We would just go there, kind of hang out, relax in the atmosphere, and it was a pretty good place just to go and just kind of chill. I graduated from Texas State in May of 2010, and Texas State is located in San Marcos, which is right in the middle of Austin and San Antonio. I had some of the best years of my life living down there. We were in Texas this past October, and we got the opportunity to travel down there. So after I graduated, the summer of 2010 by far was the most depressing summer of my adult life. Looking back at it, the only really great thing that I remember happening during the summer of 2010 was I met my wife. Leading up to graduation, I wasn't proactive with what I wanted to do next, so once I graduated, I really had no direction on where I was going to go after that. I ended up back home in Arlington sleeping on my mom's floor. My degree was in marketing, and I had literally no idea what I was going to do. I probably applied for thousands of jobs on Career Builder that same summer. I finally got a hit working for an up-and-coming mortgage servicer that was right in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they were going to start me off at $32K, and at this point, man, I thought I was rich. My high school and college jobs never paid more than $7 or $8 an hour, so $32K might as well have been $1 million. I worked with this mortgage servicer for 5 years processing foreclosures, and this was right after the housing market had collapsed, so most of the people that I graduated with were still unemployed at this point, so I was just thankful just to have a job. The first couple of years were great. What I was doing was I was processing affidavits to allow the company to start the foreclosure process, and there was numerous occasions where the company flew me down to Florida for depositions where in some of the situations I actually met some of the individuals who were in court fighting to keep their house. Around year 3, I was sick of pushing papers, but at this point I literally had no idea what I was going to do to get out. But what I did know is I wanted out so bad that I probably would have done anything at this point. Around the same time, I read the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I know most of you have probably heard of it. And I also discovered Dave Ramsey, and my wife and I really started to clean up our personal finance just to be able to give ourselves some more options. My wife and I developed a strategy to get out of debt, so what I ended up doing was I kept my job during the day in the mortgage business, but I picked up a job in the evening delivering pizzas. My last 2 years working in the mortgage business, I was working during the day there and I was delivering pizzas at night. I did this for 2 years. In the last 18 months at the company, my wife and I became debt-free, and we've lived a debt-free, clean life ever since 2015. Being debt-free gave me so many options. I remember one of the last meetings I was at before I ended up quitting my full-time job. It was just one of those days where, I mean, everything was going wrong, and I said to myself, I'm done here. I'm done here. I'm sick of this. I'm done, putting up with this. And so what I ended up doing was I calculated the math based off our bills, and granted at this time we didn't have a whole lot of bills besides the basic necessities because we didn't have any consumer debt. And so I did the calculations, and I realized that if I just worked 30 to 35 hours in the evening delivering pizzas, we could still cover all of our bills. That was my hallelujah moment. I quit my job on April 24th of 2015, and out of all the things that I've accomplished so far in my life, that's up in probably the top 10 of one of the happiest days of my life. For me guys, the pizza delivery business was actually pretty fun. It freed my days up to allow me to focus on business and entrepreneurship, and at night I was just slinging pizzas. I wasn't driving around that night listening to Lil Wayne or the radio. I was listening to people like Jim Rome, Brian Tracy, Darren Hardy, really developing the entrepreneur mindset. Guys, I have so many funny stories from my time delivering. There was a time where I was offered sex for payment. There was also a time where I was almost robbed, but 2 of the 4 guys chickened out and they decided not to do it. And I've delivered in rainstorms, snowstorms, hailstorms, you name it, I've done it all. Overall, it was a good experience, but the biggest thing was it taught me a lot about hustle. While I was delivering at night, I was really trying to get the entrepreneur business side of things going during the day. I started out selling books on Amazon for a period of time. I also sold Amway. I still can't believe I did that. And ultimately what I ended up doing was I got my real estate license and I was an agent for a while. I didn't like working on the retail side of the business, but in doing so, what I ended up doing was I discovered a technique called wholesaling, which is more on the investor side, and I still do some of that on a part-time basis today. Towards the end of 2015, we started to consider moving to Portland. My wife is actually from the Northwest, and so it wasn't one of those things where we were moving here blind. We had traveled here at least once a year, visiting her family, and all of my times coming up to Portland, it was a place that I actually enjoyed visiting, so it was a move that I really could get behind. We moved during the summer of 2016, and when we got here, I just took another job delivering because that was fast, quick, and easy. But at this point, I had been delivering for a couple of years and I was sick of it, and I was ready to get out of delivering just like I was a couple years ago of getting out of my full-time job in the mortgage business. One night, I was up late on YouTube just really searching for that next opportunity. That phrase of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, that statement was in full effect here. I discovered a couple of individuals who were selling secondhand clothing and even shoes on eBay from mostly places like Goodwill, and it had never dawned on me at this point that you could actually make an income doing that, because when we moved from Texas, I had a lot of good stuff that I literally just gave away and donated because I felt like I had no need for it, not really understanding that there was profit in that. After taking in some of the information that I was learning from the resale business via YouTube, I traveled to a Goodwill that was located pretty close to us. I ended up finding an Aaron Rodgers jersey at Goodwill, and it was pretty cheap. I don't think it cost more than $5, and I listed it on eBay that same day, and I believe it sold within a day or two for 70 bucks. Selling that Aaron Rodgers jersey was the sale that proved the concept for me. This was at the end of 2016, and I quit the pizza business in April of 2017 and went full time in the reselling game. So guys, that's my story in a nutshell, and everything great that I've always set out to accomplish has always come with hardship and struggle, and that's where the term nevertheless success comes from. In spite of everything that you may go through on your journey, in spite of every obstacle, in spite of every roadblock, succeed. I hope you guys can take something from my story and maybe apply it to your journey along the way. We're all trying to get to that place of what success means to us. So guys, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys on the next one, and as always, succeed.